Go ahead, guys.
A lot to evaluate in a win like Saturdays. What did you think when you went back and looked at everything, good, bad, and indifferent?
I'll tell you what I liked was we didn't come out. I mean, they made some plays early, but that section of that first half when we came back and took the lead at 20-10, I believe it was, or something like that. That first half really played well, offensively and defensively, and special teams. There was a lot of good things that happened in that scenario, and I just thought we had long drives, we had good drives, and we were spreading the ball around offensively, and the defense, they were a big rushing football team, so they were holding up that way. So a lot of good things came from the first half. Second half felt, we had the ball first, and we needed to take that first drive down, and we did. And then through that third quarter, that's when they took the momentum and the lead. And of course, the big swing was the first plays of the fourth quarter. And through that phase of it, that was kind of man against man in the trenches. And when we won that battle, it swung back in our favor, and then we finalized the game with it. So, yeah, there was errors to correct. There was a good play to build from, and it was actually a very good game for growth as you watched it on film to teach from and to learn from. And now you got to take it to the next game and get ready for Indiana State.
We saw some of those big momentum swings really affect this team against Weber State. They don't necessarily let those third quarter momentum swings at the interception, the block punt, prevent them from winning this game. Is there anything to take away from that in what they've added as they've grown as players?
Well, I think they held their poise, and their poise and their resilience, that type of thing in that phase of the game was excellent because it was a matter of how we're going to win the game, not if we were going to win the game. So there was that aspect to it. But then I always look at the flip side of it, the corrections that have to be made. I mean, there were some discipline errors in there that kept us on the field. There was 3 penalties that cost us 45 yards of field position that allowed them to stay on the field. And then, of course, the blocked punt was a big deal. I don't think we've had one blocked here for a while, and that created some momentum at that time. So the resilience coming off it, but the effect of it still has to be corrected because those things can't be allowed.
When you looking at the blocked punt, is that Noah's needs to speed up his process, or was that a protection issue?
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, they come every down, and they'd already blocked one this year, and actually the 2 players they did it with are exceptional. Speed-wise and things like that. So there was probably schematic error as much as there was Noah, snap, hold, catch, whatever. So there's a lot of things going on within that play, and we put time into that play. So yeah, that can get corrected. But that was great effort by that dude. He had a great get off, and he laid out, man. It took all of him to get it, but he got it.
Looking past the penalties, if you can, knowing what you had said in terms of the work that was done on the defense during the bye week, what are you left with now? Like looking past the penalties on, this is the thing. These are the things we got to get better at defensively quicker than.
Just got to get more consistent. We're giving up a big play. We're giving up big plays that should not be given up. And when I say the big plays, they're, whether it was that long run against Weber, the throws over the top, we're in situations they shouldn't happen, and they're happening about. Maybe there's probably 5 explosive plays throughout our season that have happened, and but yet that accounts for 35 points. So those things sting, particularly in our defense, for what our standard is. So we've got to take away that error or whatever that is. Create that. Got to take that big explosive play, and most of the times it's a communication error between 2 guys that are on the wrong side of the coin. They're doing 2 opposite things, and thus you create a void, and a good team will take advantage of your void. So we got to clean that consistency of that communication error up, as well as the technique within what they're doing. So they got to stay locked in, because when they're locked in, I mean, from Weber to this one to Idaho State, there's very good defense being played. It's the explosive play through a communication error or breakdown, but that's part of the game too, man. You got to do it for 70, 80 snaps, not just for 5.
And we saw one of those explosive plays with their first place from scrimmage over Corey at cornerback, and then saw Jonathan Cabral Martin get some time after that happened. We've seen Mo Alowo play some corner. So would it be safe to say that, as the season goes along here, that may be one of the spots where some competition persists? I mean, everybody's competing all the time, but
That's legit.
particularly there?
That's legit. You might see a different corner this weekend. Okay, so no, both corners and the safeties, and there's a lot of things involved. We can get coach talk about it, but at the end of the day, you got to win a corner. You're exposed, man. You're out there in front of the world by yourself, like being a kicker. When you make an error out there, the whole world sees it. So absolutely, there's competition at that position. Those guys, I thought Corey did a nice job of handling that because we took him and we put Martin in, and Corey still in all the other special teams was effective on him. So, you know, it's part of the game. You got to be able to drain an error to move on to the next week, but you also got to go compete for your position every day of the week as well.
You mentioned the tape is going to provide you a lot of teaching points from the game on Saturday. In a weird way, that kind of a coaching utopia, knowing the fact you got the victory, but there's a lot of things to teach and learn from a game like that.
It's an awesome tape. It's an awesome game to learn from because you got to win one, you got to win against a good team, and you had to come back from behind twice. And so it took the whole unit. It took offense, defense, special teams, and there's corrections as much as there is really good play to teach from and to learn from what others had done throughout those plays. Those 2 kickoff returns were good. We were out by the 50-yard line. We had our own chance to return a punt a couple times. Wolf did a nice job back there for us. But, you know, what we'll take from it is we're watching that punt that got blocked multiple times, cleaning that up. So that'll be shored up, and it is as of today, but it'll be even more so as the week progresses. But at the end of the day, it's actually a great tape because you get a win. Man, wins are hard to get, and particularly in this league against ranked teams. So we did that, overcame our own errors, and so you grow and get better, and that's the objective this week.
We saw Josh Jenkins have 2 really explosive kick returns. We saw him have a couple where it would have been better to take a touchback. When you have a return man who can flip the field, you just kind of have to live and die by the mistakes that he might make taking it out.
Yeah, but yes, to answer your direct question, yeah, you got to live and die a little bit by that, but I prefer to live a little bit longer. So when I say that, you know, he's got to make good choices. You can see hang time on a ball. I mean, it isn't where the ball lands. I mean, that's part of growing and maturing as a player, saying, hey, if the ball lands in the end zone, take the fair catch. If it's out of the 3 to 5 yard line, bring it out. But then you think that's a good coaching point, right? Until you got hang time that it sits in the air forever because you got a kicker that got it up. Now you got to make a choice in the player. Yeah, he's got to make the choice to take that as a fair catch as well. So it's growth in the player to really understand everything you're trying to communicate to him, and experience is the only way you do it.
Theo was the co-offensive player of the week in the conference. You had mentioned after Saturday's game that he's still got some things to clean up, knowing that, you know, he's relentless at his craft and Bodie the way he is. What can you tell us, if you could elaborate on what are the things right now off of a couple back-to-back performances on paper that were really good, what he's working on?
He needs to work on quite a bit. I mean, on paper, the paper doesn't tell the story, and but here's the good thing. He's in rhythm. You know, he's making throws. He's back in to where we've seen him in the past, that he's got some rhythm to him, and he's got a good group of receivers to throw to. The receivers made some really good catches for him. Okay, when they got confidence in your quarterback and he's putting the ball where it belongs, I mean, what Lane, the catch of Lane, the catch of Jelly, Jaden, I mean, the catch of Wolf, the catch of Snee. I mean, there are some extremely good catches out there too. So he's got a good group of players to throw to. Now he just needs to continue to take what is there, because it's not there every time. I mean, he's making things happen now, trust me, and I'll go with the live and die over here. Is you live and die a little bit with choices you make, but he's making some really good choices, and we're making some good plays. And yet the sack, and maybe there was a couple throws in there that he may have stayed with the existing thought he was going to do instead of try to stretch it a little bit. So, but you got to be like that if you're going to win, man. The great ones know how to challenge it, and I think that balance is the difference between good and great. He's got talent, and he's got a lot of ability. He's making some good decisions right now, and he has to build from that and grow from that.
Didn't see Sergio on Saturday. What's his status?
Man, honestly that's a tough question, because I thought he'd be ready for the game, you know. But coming off that Idaho State deal, that was, you know, that's one of those deals that hopefully we're going to get him back here shortly. And but he tried to go that day, and just wasn't up to par. But I also think that he knows that the guys behind him, the guys that are right there, have that kind of talent. Because Jaden came in, Logan Wolf took over that role, and then you still had Schnee and Pryor, and I even got to see Camonte Grimes a little bit out there. So I told you early in the season we had depth there because when you got a quarterback, you got to keep the depth. We'll continue to do that, and the day Sergio comes back, that'll just increase our depth again.
We saw another Valley team get upset earlier in the week by a team that they probably shouldn't have lost to. You guys are going up against an 0-4 team. Do you point to that game at all and say, hey, look, anyone in this league can beat anyone at any time?
Man, the word that you guys shouldn't have lost to, I'm going, man, get in this league and try to say that when you're playing day in and day out in this league. Good luck with that word, all right? I don't care where you play or who you play. You better bring your A game because this league has got enough talent in it, and it's got enough coaching talent in it. It's got a lot of coaching talent in it that it's a tough league. And if you catch wind, if you catch momentum, hey, it isn't you're supposed to win. It's find a way to win.
You mentioned Lane Pryor. Yeah, he's a guy that found his way on the field as a true freshman. He played a lot of snaps in his career. He's still a pretty young guy. But what can you tell us about Lane? Like, what's he got that's made him so impactful so early in his career?
He's got toughness. He's got willpower. He's got energy. He's the guy that if you had a draft pick, he might be. I guarantee he's one of the first 5 picks on our football team. Okay, that's how important he is to us. That's what he brings to his unit as much as what he brings to his position. And now he's just learned the game, man. He's 8 man, so he had no idea how to play tight end when he got here. I don't even know if he knew how to get lined up and with that many guys on the field. But he is everything you want in a football player, and everything you want in a teammate, and everything you want on your team. Okay, from the locker room to the classroom to the bus rides to the hits. To the headbutts, man, he's the whole package. And the more he plays this game, the more he'll get recognized that way.
Following up on Indiana State, we saw Cade Chambers get back under center for them in that Murray State game, a close loss for them. But then they played 2 other quarterbacks. It's not the first time you prepared for a team that's had multiple quarterbacks, but specific to Indiana State, I mean, what do you see in terms of how best to prepare for them?
Well, I'm assuming he's going to play that because I understand. I don't know for sure when he got hurt or what he hurt, but I do know that he was the freshman of the year last year, or the newcomer of the year, whatever that award was coming out of our league, because what he did, he played a little bit against us, and then after our game, he became the starter, is the way I understand it, and then took off, and then he was highly spoke of by his coaching staff when we got into the selection time at the end of the season as one of those newcomers. So his numbers are productive, which tells me he's a great leader, and he was a big part of their what their football team was doing last year. So I'm sure they like him having him back. But and then this is the game we just saw him play for the first time was against Murray.
We saw this Indiana State team kind of get your offense out of sorts last year in the Dome. If you can think back to that game, can you point to anything that they did in particular that maybe made the offense uncomfortable?
Shoot, I wish I could remember that far. I swear to you, man, I get so queued up and put so much time into one team. They still joke with me, man. I can't remember from week 1 to week 2, but I know the plays that hurt us. All right, I can remember those for multi-years, man. I can go 10 years back and find the ones that beat us. It's the ones that helped us is the ones I forget all the time. So, but no, we'll look at that film. We'll study that stuff and see what they did. It's the same group of coaches, I believe, and we've got basically the same group of coaches. So, it's going to come down to Saturday night on the 100 yards of field, and we better be ready to play. We better have a good plan, and the players better be prepared well enough to execute the plan.
So you got a football game Saturday night in Terre Haute, and then UNI volleyball is actually playing Indiana State earlier in the afternoon. Would you like to recruit some of the volleyball support to help come to football and maybe get some of those football fans to volleyball a little bit before that?
Oh, are they out there? Are they really?
Yeah, a little doubleheader out there.
Shoot, wish they played at 10. We'd go to their game. So I did not know that. So, but no, I've been so queued up with just getting our team ready, and I know Bobby, I know she's having a great season, you know, and with her daughters and everything. So, but no, I always, for years, I've always followed what our volleyball team has done, and for years we've tried to even get to the games, but over the years they've kind of swung these game times around so much that you can't even do both anymore hardly. So, but no, it's we're just trying to get ready to play, man. But it's interesting they're playing the same place out there. What time's their game?
They're at 4 local, so it would be 3 central.
So
I
they
think
play.
Your game is 7 Eastern, 6 Central, if I recall correctly.
Is that what it is? So they're 4 hours apart? Okay. All right. Did not know that. Might as well travel together. Anybody else? All right, thanks.